So my wife went to Costco the other day. And she got me this, and I'm really excited.
Kimchi.
A giant. This thing is the size of my head. So
you should eat it to celebrate the North and South Korea peace treaty.
She did buy me like a giant 25-pound bag of rice too, so I might have to make some stuff soon.
Damn.
Have you got?
There's like a vegan fast food restaurant in Easton.
Yeah.
And they have a new item called a kimchi roll, which is like a bunch of kimchi and some rice in a collard green wrap.
Oh, interesting.
It's legit.
I love me some kimchi. It took me a while to get used to it, but man, it's so good.
Yeah. It's odd, but it's good.
So it's like, all right, we're going to put some cabbage. We're going to throw it in the ground for a few weeks and just let it rot. And then we're going to, let's eat it that way.
Yeah.
Someone had that idea. And I know it's a preservation thing, but still, it's just kind of, It's like the first person that decided to put their mouth on a cow nipple.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it didn't happen that way.
I could drink this. Everybody, and welcome to episode 25 of Rather Be Playing, the podcast where we talk about how we'd rather be playing games than
running for an extended period of time.
Running.
Apparently, I think it's yogging.
Yes. I'm Josh.
I'm Elliot.
And I'm Stevo. And I thought you were about to say like running for re-election.
Or running for your lives or something.
I would have to be already elected.
Were you celebrating our 25th episode by running?
Yes, I was now. Episode 25. We're so old.
I know.
We can rent a car now.
It's true.
No, I was in DC over the weekend, and they have an amazing race called the
Amazing.
Not intentional. This is not supported by CBS.
I'll call Phil and let him know.
It's the Parkway Classic in DC, and it starts at Mount Vernon, George Washington's estate, and it goes to Old Town Alexandria, and it's just straight down. There's no loops, and it's flat the whole. Actually, it kind of starts at the top of a hill, and you're kind of gingerly working your way down this hill most time.
It's like 8 miles, isn't it? Something like that.
10. It's a 10-mile race.
10.
10-miler. Yeah, it's like Amy and I are. Like we like to run, we like to do races. We do at least 2 or 3 a year, and this is our first one this year, and it's our favorite one.
Was it cold as hell?
In the morning, it was because like the race starts like 8 a.m. and you get out there at 7, and because it's straight away and there's no loop, you park at the finish line and you take a bus to the start,
right?
And then you just kind of wait because the buses have their own schedule, and you get there like 45 minutes ahead of the race, and you're just kind of sitting there trying to stay warm. Yeah. It's like 40 degrees, but once you get started and the sun came out, it was really warm. And
when I used to live in Old Town, I used to do that. I used to bike down to Mount Vernon and back. It's a nice scenic route, if you will.
Yeah, that's a great bike ride.
Yeah,
much more pleasant than running it. I like running, but it was I haven't done it much in the last few months, so it was a bit of a hardship there. But I did it. I got it done. Got some beer at the end from Port City.
Oh, nice.
Local brewery in Alexandria, which is very good.
Yeah.
Well, we're very proud of you, Elliot. All here at the Rather Be Playing podcast. Of course,
I was gonna say I like when he goes and runs his ass off, because then he's required to lie down for a while and play some games.
Recover. Yes. And I did. Actually, I couldn't play Cuphead lying down and recovering, but I played some games on my Vita, so.
Oh, okay.
It's always nice to have.
So, yeah, I mean, you did.
Are you going to keep us in suspense, or what the hell games have you been playing?
Are we going into it right now? Okay.
Why not?
Okay. So while I was recovering from my injuries, I turned out fine. So Josh has been talking about playing Xenogears recently, and it's one of my favorite games from back when I was a kid.
Same here.
And yeah, I mean, it's a instant classic, and I haven't played it at all since I beat it back when I was like 15, 16 years old. So I booted it up. You can play PS1 games on Vita, and the PS1 library is just so rich with these JRPGs that are so much better to play on the go. Like, this is an 80-hour game easily, and looking back as I'm playing, I'm thinking, how the hell did I play this on a TV sitting still, like not moving? Like,
yeah,
it sounds impossible today, but thanks to these portable emulators and stuff like that, I booted it up, and it's like, you know, it's an old game, but it's just how I remember it. I don't want to say it hasn't aged well. Like, obviously there's a lot of quality of life improvements that have gone in as standards since then.
The tech speed.
The tech speed was a problem when it came out too.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Things like random battles, encounter rate's a little high for me.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's
random encounters.
Yeah.
And the game is the random encounters in some places can be really obnoxious, and the game has this habit of like, it'll trigger random encounters at the worst possible times. Like when you're opening a door or opening like a chest, like in between you opening the chest and actually getting the item, you'll get into a battle.
And then will you lose the item? Or
no, you'll still get the item. It just triggers at that point for some reason. And the other obnoxious one is you can jump with your character. And in some dungeons, there's platforming involved to get around, and you'll get a random battle in the middle of the frickin' jump, which you'll lose your momentum and just go whoop. So,
oh no. Okay, so again, for the clueless Irishman, I'm guessing it's a JRPG. You said originally out on the original PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell me more about it. What's the story? Is it isometric? Is it turn-based, or is it action RPG?
Turn-based, random battles. It's like FF7.
Oh, okay.
It came out right around then as well. So you're just you're running around the world, and it's like it's fully 3D. So FF7 has pre-rendered backgrounds, and this is like you use the triggers to rotate the world around you.
And and FF7 had polygonal characters, but it's basically sprites in this game.
Yeah, you're flat sprites in a 3D world.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, kind of reminds me a little bit, now that I think about it, of Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, kind of. I can see that.
In a way.
I've always kind of thought the sprites in Xenogears were kind of ugly, but I'd managed to deal with it.
Yeah. But imagine that, but just like super low fidelity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Xenogears is like.
And who's your character? What is your quest?
Your character is Fei Fong Wong, an orphan,
of course,
who was dropped who was left at the doorstep of a chief as like a 15-year-old kid.
Yes.
Did he not know what happened to him before then, or
no? So of course he's got amnesia. There's a little cutscene of like this robed man like dropping off him like as a fully grown human being like at this doorstep. And
that's a bit creepy.
Yeah, and he's, you know, you don't know who he is, and the guy who drops him off.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the game starts 3 years later, and like his new best friends are getting married. And the opening scene is kind of like a very quick flash forward of like the next day.
Yeah.
And then it comes back and it's like, oh, peaceful village, everything's great. And you get to know like the characters in the village, and very typical like JRPG exposition.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a big event coming up. Thank God this time it wasn't like, you're turning 16 and you're going to be a man. Here's your rite of passage.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does do the trope of, okay, I did something wrong and blew up the village, basically. And then they turn you into an outcast, which that's very tropey. I mean, Wild Arms did it. Secret of Mana did it. But yeah.
You do fuck up and become an outcast, which is the general trope that you get. But from there, it kind of goes way off the rails. It's the least, in terms of story, one of the least tropey.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of heavy religious themes, especially like Christian imagery, and it's woven into the plot as well. There's lots of like creationism and like start of the universe questions being answered, and it's really like metaphysical, psychological. It goes nuts, and the story is so thick that there's 2 discs, and the second disc is basically just a visual novel. It's like, this is going a lot longer than we thought it would.
Yeah.
Let's just cut out all these dungeons and just tell people what happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that's most of the second disc.
Yeah, there is some stuff you do in between, like the bits of exposition on the second disc, but yeah, a lot of it is condensed. And I mean, there's rumors that it was budget reasons or that was what they intended to do. It's kind of unclear on why they ended up doing it that way, but yeah, with the first disc, you just move from plot point to plot point, and it just kind of keeps ramping up and getting more and more insane. And if you like symbolism, you'll like this game because it's 99% symbolic of stuff.
Did they ever make like the second disc into a game, or has there ever been a fan made game?
No,
No,
I don't believe so.
I wonder if anyone would. I don't know. But there hasn't been. That's pretty much just what the game is, and it's always been. It kind of hasn't been tinkered with since, as far as I know.
But they go ahead.
Would you call it a classic? Would you try to convince me to go back and play it?
Okay, so yes, I would call it a classic. I don't think there's any way in this world that you would ever get through it.
Yeah.
Not that it's like hard, just I feel like it requires a level of attention that you'd be like, no, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore.
And in fairness, like, I don't think I have the patience. I would have the patience for it if I didn't have the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the most, I just said it earlier before we started recording, that it's one of the most adult stories that I read at that point in my life. And for a while after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I'm always going to remember. I'm playing it. I'm always going to, it might not. They did that meme of your top 4 games that we'll get into later.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it up that high yet, but it's up there as being extremely influential. And I would. I think if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I could play it today. It does have some really cool things that it does other than the story. Like combat's pretty neat. Like there's 2 types of combat. There's on foot, where you put in like button combos to do these like big special attacks on the enemies. And then like you also fight in your gears, which are giant like Gundam looking mechs. Giant robots.
Mechs you fight in. And when you're in that mode, there's some combo things you could do, but a lot of it is like managing your fuel, because everything you does costs fuel. You can't really heal easily, so you have to make sure you're keeping your health up. It's basically Gundam meets Nietzsche.
Yeah. It's basically like Evangelion, the game.
Yeah,
if you ever watched the anime, it's a lot like the themes are very similar. Like the characters and character interactions and the story is very different, but you have giant robots and you have lots of themes with like creationism and like
angels
God
coming down to
angels,
attack. Yeah,
lots of symbolism.
Oh.
So you can start there, and if that's up your alley, which also is kind of a hard sell these days because the story also goes off the rails a bit, but I don't know. I would love for you to play it. I would love for you to experience it. I would love for anyone to experience it because it's a really well done game with an incredible story. But
it came out after Final Fantasy VII, presumably, did it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And was it as well regarded? Was it?
I remember there was a rumor where it almost didn't make it to the US because of the heavy religious themes. Yeah. They were worried it wouldn't track well.
Wow.
And so it got finally, they made it out. I don't know if they made much editing or censorship.
I don't think there was much.
I don't think there was. Shit, I forgot your question.
You said it wasn't well received.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it was pretty well received right away, and it's got this lasting positive, like it lives on in people's memories in a good way.
Yeah.
Not to it wasn't as groundbreaking as FF7 or anything like that, but to have FF7 and then like a high quality game like this right after it. Plus, they had a bunch of others around that time.
Yeah.
Square Enix was just like striking gold in everything they tried to do.
The golden age.
Yeah, it's like we discussed. I think it was the last episode. That was the time when like Parasite Eve came out, things like that. So yeah, it was just pumping out hit after hit.
Well, guys, would you also say that was a golden age for Konami? because I have been also playing a classic PS1 game on the Vita, as you know, over the last few weeks, maybe a couple of months. Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
There you go.
And guys, it's absolutely it's perfect. It is so good. As you know, like I really enjoyed Super Castlevania 4 on the SNES Classic, and that was what convinced me to jump into this. And I know you guys had been talking about it for a long time before, saying that would you call this the pinnacle of Metroidvania?
I mean, it's definitely one of the first ones. Like it's the one that coined the term Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Like before that, it was just Metroid games.
Yeah.
And then there was Castlevania, but then this one was like, what if we put Castlevania and gave it a map? You know?
Yeah.
So, and to think that this came out 3 years after Super Metroid, and the entire scale is so much bigger. When did Super Castlevania 4 come out?
Was it only 3 years after Super Metroid?
Yep.
Holy shit, I didn't realize that.
Super Metroid was 94, and I think Castlevania was 97 then, I think.
Yeah. Holy cow.
But what about Super Castlevania 4?
Super Castlevania 4, Super Nintendo, maybe.
I'm interested
94.
in checking this.
I didn't play it at the time, so I don't even remember.
It was 91. Okay, so that would explain it, because Super Metroid is a big step up from it, and then but from Super Castlevania 4 to Symphony of the Night, this is a completely different game. This is like, you know, expanded scope exponentially. It feels so much better. It feels almost modern. The animations are great. The gameplay is great. The combat. There's so much level variety. There's so much enemy variety. There's so much boss battle variety. They've layered in a load of RPG elements. Everything from, well, they already had the special items from Super Castlevania 4, but adding into that, leveling up your character, weapons, being able to choose different types and different styles of weapons, which some of them have like special attacks.
Yeah.
Kind of doing the Hadouken move.
Yeah.
From Street Fighter. Different armor types, which all and different what do you call it, rings and necklaces, items, accessories. Thanks, Josh. For that allow you to like unlock different areas and being able to turn into different animals or mist for some reason. Well, I guess you're a vampire. It makes sense.
Well, this is the first one where you're playing as not a Belmont, so Alucard.
It's like there's so much more. I'm just blown away by how modern feeling this game is, and the Vita is perfect for it because that combination of like a more modernized save system, that the save points are dotted throughout the map, similar to Super Metroid, but also for Vita being able to switch it off and switch it back on again, the instant save, you know, just not losing your progress from there to there, made such a huge difference to me.
Right.
God knows it's not like I didn't look at that death screen enough, you know? Let us go out this evening for pleasure. The night is yet young. How many times have I fucking read that and seen that, like, what is it? Like skeleton of a looks like a bull or something. Bull skeleton when you die every time.
Yeah.
But this game is so good, and it takes all the great things from Super Castlevania 4 as well. The soundtrack is amazing.
Yes.
And so many of the enemy types, the enemy varieties you recognize from the earlier games.
Yeah.
It still packs a punch. It is quite challenging. Like, I have thrown a lot of hours into this game and absolutely happy to do. Oh, and then it's got this silly story and ridiculous characters and cheesy dialogue. It is so good.
Yeah.
Every time you bump into that girl Maria, just everything you both say is so packed with like stupid phrasing and just awkwardness. It's
just emoting the hell out of everything.
It is so good.
What is a man but a miserable pile of secrets?
Yeah. So when you're done, if you want a challenge, you can play the game as Richter.
Really? You can start right into that?
Yep. Well, yeah.
I don't think I've done that.
Is it harder?
Well, you don't equip anything. You have the whip. There's no item.
You're just a man.
You're just a guy. You're just a guy with a whip. I think you do level up and stuff, but that's it.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's hard mode.
Yeah, basically
hard mode for nothing.
Yeah, just I think all you got to do is put in when you name your character, just name it Richter, and that opens it.
Wow, that's kind of interesting.
In the Sega Saturn version, actually, you could also play as Maria, but they didn't have that in the PlayStation 1.
I didn't realize it was a Saturn port.
I just love this game. I love, as I say, the cheesy dialogue. I love the bad localization. I love when you're like reloading your save and it's like reverse canyon or reverse areas in the. So I'm now in the inverted map.
Yeah,
and some of the areas are called like reverse caverns.
Yeah,
and it's REVERCE. It just cracks me up every time I read it.
The British spelling, I believe.
Yes.
It's so good. But yeah, I'm adoring this game. I think I'm about 70% map coverage in the inverted map. And I don't want it to end. Do you think there's major stumbling blocks ahead of me, or the fact that I'm getting it through it at this pace?
No.
I don't remember stumbling too much other than like figuring out the boss strategy here and there. Yeah. But like you can always backtrack and find, where you need to go once you hit a wall.
And if you want to break the game, I can show you how to break the game.
I think I'm going to stick at it the way I am right now. I do think I should be able to get through it. The most recent boss I've got to is some kind of rotting flesh creature, and these big giant flies are flying at you.
Beelzebub? That's Beelzebub, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I need the like arcing axes so that I can throw them up to hit it, because right now I've got the daggers and I can't double jump high enough. At some point when I chop off the legs, I can't double jump high enough to attack it higher up.
Do you not have the like boost jump thing? I can't remember what it's called, but it like just shoots you vertically in the air. I feel like you should have that by now.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Backtrack.
I could be wrong. Maybe that's something you get around that point, but I know there's basically an item where you like press down up jump or something like that, and it just like fires you up and up, and you can repeat it. So it's basically like a space jump too.
That's very Super Metroid-y, isn't it?
But but again, I can't remember where you get it, so you might not have access to it yet. But
okay, maybe I have to find that. You can do a bit of Googling for me there, Josh, so I don't spoil anything else for myself.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, find out whether that's in the inverted map or if it's in the regular map.
Okay.
But I've been loving Symphony of the Night, and
I'm so glad.
I have also been loving the other game that we played, which Elliot didn't mention while he was talking about his games, because he has hardly played it at all. Cuphead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Cuphead's pretty much the only thing I devoted my time to these past few weeks. So
Cuphead is too hard. I couldn't do it, guys.
How much did you try, Elliot?
I tried enough.
I turned it on. I got to the world map and said nope.
No, I mean, I must have spent like a couple hours just like dying repeatedly, and I was like, man. But like, I got mad and I uninstalled it immediately. But then. When we recorded our last podcast, we talked about like how the different levels work. So some are supposed to be just bosses, and the ones that are levels don't have bosses at the end.
Yep.
And I was missing some strategy on one of the bosses I was stuck on. So I did reinstall it with the full intent of playing it some more. But I haven't. No.
That's exactly it as well. It is all about strategy. Like, it does take good reflexes. It takes learning the patterns. But one of the major things that I realized after trying to beat that feckin' bee 5 feckin' hours was that you often just need a different weapon.
Yeah.
So for that one in particular, I didn't have a gun called the Lobber. And when I finally got sick of this after spending like 5 or 6 hours trying to beat it, I Googled it, and the guy was just using this other gun, and he just blitzed through it. And
got the Lobber? I actually didn't unlock that one. I used the Chaser on that one.
I don't know how you did it with the Chaser. I tried it with the Chaser. I tried it with. I mostly tried it with the Chaser and the spread.
Yeah.
The 8-way. Did you call it? And I would get really far. I would get to the final boss every time, and just every time I would die. It was driving me insane.
Honestly, the hardest part for me on that one was the bullets, and then I finally figured out the pattern on the bullets, and then I used the 8-way up to that point, and then once you figure out the bullet pattern, and she turns into the plane, that's when I started realizing how she fight, because all she does is fire out those fists.
Yeah, but those fists kept getting me. At some point, they seemed to get harder. At first, I thought I had them down, but then...
yeah, I don't know. I was able to figure out the pattern on that one and just held down the chaser button, and eventually she just died. So,
yeah. Cuphead, Elliot, all that I can say about Cuphead is that it is the best game that I absolutely despise. And it's also the most terrible game that I absolutely adore. It's just, I'm constantly just peaks and valleys, just like hating it. Something's taking me forever. I'll never do this. And by the way, a lot of this is on a stream. If you want to go check out, go on the YouTube channel, search for Rather Be Playing. I think I'm up to 88%. There's 5 videos up there. I think I might have done like 6%, 8% off stream as well. But that was mostly backtracking to get extra coins so that I could afford to buy the other types of guns that I didn't have. And it was worth doing that, because then I got on the stream with that lobber and I blitzed through about three levels in about an hour, which is good for me, to be honest. I
really should have, if I was dog shit tired last night. Like I got home around like 10 and I was just like, I gotta make sure I'm farther than Stevo in this game when we record. So I motivator. So I booted up. I should have streamed it, but like, so I finally, in the third world, the only one that I had beaten so far was the pirate ship. So I finally just said, screw it. Let's go. I fought the bee. I got like 2 tries. I finally got it right. And then I was like, well, I got time. And I just got in like some sort of zone where I was able to like blitz through the rest of the bosses in world 3. And the only one that gave me some issues was the junkyard one, until I finally figured out the stupid pattern on that thing. Yeah. And realized like the second form was the appropriate time to use a super. And so all I was left with was the train and then the final bosses. And this morning I woke up and I was like, I got some time. Let's give it a shot. And surprisingly, it went okay. So finally, I beat it. So
just this morning you beat it.
Yeah. I just beat it this morning. And then I totally skipped the 2 run and guns in World 3 because 1, I didn't need the coins. And 2, they were fucking hard. I was just like, I'm sure if I beat my head against it enough, I'd be fine. But I was just like, I don't have the patience. I got the weapons I need. Let me just go fight the bosses.
What was your runtime? How long did it take?
Let me see how long it said in Steam as far as how long it was open.
So that Steam includes all like even when you've been leaving it on pause and shit like that. But
yeah, but I don't think I did any of that. So it's Cuphead.
I wonder, can I find that? Because I have got it on Xbox and Microsoft Store version.
Mine says 6 hours.
6 hours?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Really?
Holy shit.
That's what it says.
Josh, this is not fair. This is not fair. Like how
much time did you spend, Stevo?
Clearly, I no joke. I just look at the YouTube, see how many many hours I've got on there, and then literally add 4 hours, 5 hours to that.
It's 6 hours. It makes me feel like I should just jump on and beat it real quick today.
Yeah, you'll just knock it out, Elliot. Just turn it on and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm good at games, guys.
I'll have to see if there's an actual time in the game. I can't remember if there is or not.
It'll probably be like 45 minutes.
No, I don't think I ever let it just sit around or anything. So sorry,
man. I much prefer the Castlevania talk to this one.
I don't know. I don't even know. Should I be apologizing or what?
You should feel bad.
I feel good.
Yeah, but the funny thing about Cuphead is, as much as I hated it and as much as it has caused me to tear my hair out, you just love it because the design is so amazing, the graphics are so beautiful, the music is so beautiful. It is that the gameplay is so good that when you die, you want to try it again, not just because you want to beat the level, but because you can appreciate how good it feels and how interesting the boss's attacks are, and it's just masterfully designed. It's brilliant.
And like if you compare it to like Dark Souls or something, it's when I die, it's usually because I just don't know the pattern yet, or B, I know the pattern, I just made the wrong move at the wrong time. There were very few times where I thought this is unfair.
Yeah, you get mad at yourself.
Yeah, the most annoying thing that I found was when you fight this like mermaid boss, she turns you to stone every now and again, and if you're not in the right place when she does that, you'll just run into stuff and die. So I
actually flew through that one pretty quick. I got into a bit of a roll as well, as you say. The pirate ship actually took me longer than it should have.
Yeah,
and the dragon and the bee were the worst ones by far. Both of those. Once I finally got the dragon done, and once I beat the bee, I like beat a few like really quickly after that. And I'm hopeful, Josh, if you say that the finale isn't too difficult, maybe I'll hop on and stream it, and maybe I'll be able to finish it today or tomorrow.
The penultimate boss is not bad. It's just long. There are ways to like get some health back and actually increase it. So after the bee, I took off the 4 health thing and just left it at 3 for the rest of the game.
Yep.
And like I said, the penultimate boss, there's ways to like you can get 3 more health in that level. So it's long, but you can get some health back.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then the last one is like a 4-part boss, and the first part's probably the hardest part. And it sucks. There's like a move he does that's like really quick, and if you don't jump, you will get hit. And it's but it wasn't bad. And like I said, I managed to knock it out this morning. The last 3 bosses of the game in probably like an hour and a half, maybe. I don't know, maybe something like that.
Yeah, but clearly that'll be like 4 times as long for me if our full playthrough time is to be taken into account.
Are you guys playing with Xbox controllers?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, and also that was another huge thing. Finding your correct controller configuration. Like, do you remember when we were on Slack a couple of weeks ago and I gave you some suggestions on changing the controls?
I switched mine to that immediately.
But I changed mine again after that. So now what I have is left trigger is lock yourself in place and aim. Right trigger is shoot. So I've now got right trigger as shoot. Right bumper is to dodge. Left bumper is to change guns. And then I've just got A to jump, and X is special. So I don't need to use the face buttons. I found like trying to use the face buttons for both jump and a regular attack, I just couldn't do it. There was too much going on.
Oh, I never changed the control scheme. I use the original one. I
hate you, Josh. I hate you so much.
I've got well, because I
didn't even try and I beat it.
Well, because I mean, like X is X and A on the controller. This is their shoot. X is your shoot, and A is your jump, right?
Yeah.
That's like every other platformer from forever.
I know, but the fact that you have to lock yourself in place just changes things completely.
I don't think I ever locked myself in place. I kept forgetting that button existed because I was too busy pressing the dodge and the change weapon button. So I don't think I ever locked myself in place.
Accidentally played it one-handed.
No, I'm serious. Like, actually, I don't think I knew it existed because there were times I'm like, I wish I could just shoot up and right without moving. But
oh my god, kill me, just kill me.
You are ruining Stevo's days.
all planned.
Well, what else have you been beating, Josh? What other games have you made your bitch?
Sorry, I was going to answer that question differently. I haven't not a whole ton of time. I mean, I know. You mentioned you were listening to like the Nier spoiler cast on Waypoint the other day, and I was like, oh yeah. So I listened to it, and I was like, and then I got the bug to play Automata again. So I've been playing that off and on just for the hell of it. I've also been playing Xenogears off and on. I still need to get through Drakengard 3. That was another one I was working on.
Got that one.
But yeah, I'm hoping when we do the roulette, we get a good game here, and then I think I might just go ahead and play Mankind Divided or something. I'm not sure yet. But I need something else to play. So
yeah, I find that like I'm in kind of a rut like with gaming, and this happens every once in a while. And you go on like Reddit and etc. And every once in a while there's this thread where people are like, "Am I just not into gaming anymore? I can't think of what to play. Nothing excites me. When I start something, I just want to like quit and play something else, but I don't know what." And that's kind of where I'm at. Like I played a bit of Xenogears because it's something familiar. It's something that like I'm not gonna. I don't feel like I have to focus too hard because it's slower. It's a turn-based RPG and it's a game I've already played, so I don't feel like I'm gonna miss. If I miss something, I'm not gonna be like, oh shit, I have to go back. So it's kind of like a low stakes game to jump into, and that's like that in Rocket League, like all low stakes games. That's pretty much it. But even Rocket League, like I'll play one or two, and I don't know, just have like a bad experience. Like,
well, that's kind of like why last episode I talked about playing Parasite Eve, because like I was just in this mood where I was like, I want to play something familiar. I don't want to have to care too much. I just want to play. I want to sit on my couch after a long day and just play a game that I know I'll enjoy it, and I know it well enough that I don't have to like, use the mental energy required to actually focus and pay too much attention to it.
Right.
So
yeah, what you could do, Elliot, is do a little Googling for games which can be played in short sessions.
Yeah.
Try and find something that either has like small levels or that you can play through and save at any point, but that you'll enjoy it moment to moment, as opposed to something that is longer and, the story takes a while to get going and the levels are gigantic or it's open world. Try and find a balance, something if you're not enjoying the whatever epic game you're playing right now, that you can switch to it and just play a little bit here and there.
Yeah, and sometimes you do get just that bug up your ass in the opposite direction, where you sit down in front of your computer and you're like, you know what? I'm going to play Cuphead with one hand tied behind my back and blindfolded and beat it within 6 hours. Sometimes you just
I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it.
It's just cuz.
I think that's the key. It's finding the right game. And sometimes it's just like taking a step back for a little bit and being like, read a book or something and then come back and like do it again. And I don't think it's my first thing was, this is because I can't buy new games. Like if I had God of War, I'd be doing it. If I could get Celeste, I'd have no trouble. But I think it's more than that. I feel like, I've got Nier Automata, I've got Horizon Zero Dawn, I've got Bloodborne, I've got
Persona
Hellblade,
5,
all these Persona 5, FF15. I've got all these amazing single player games that I haven't even booted up hardly, and so like adding one to that isn't gonna solve.
Well, once you finish Horizon, play Nier or something, and we'll coach you through it. We'll give you we'll give you some motivation.
That's pretty much what I did. Was I forced myself to sit down and just boot up Horizon last night, and I surprisingly like booted it back up again today and kept playing. Like I'm actually enjoying it. It's a really good single player open world, but the world's interesting enough that I find myself wanting to do the side quests.
Yeah.
Like everyone that's come up, I've just stopped and done.
Yep.
And like I'm barely into the story at all. I'm about to I feel like it's about to launch me out into the story.
Right.
But it's good. Like, but I'm keeping it low stakes. I'm not like rushing through it. I'm not like, my first thing was like, I want to have a game to talk about on the podcast, but I just took it easy.
Yep.
And if I'm not forcing myself into it, I find that I can get into it a lot more easily.
Yeah.
So it's a great game.
Yeah, it's good. What you said before about like, wanting to play something more like familiar and something that you love, that actually it's actually a pretty good transition to our next topic, which was, if anybody's been on Twitter lately, that you've seen this hashtag GameStruck or GameStruck 4 or whatever it is being passed around a lot, which is basically list the 4 games that made the biggest impact on you, in your gaming career, life, whatever. So I thought about that and kind of, we've been talking lately about these, sitting down and playing games that we know we loved and stuff we just keep coming back to. And I thought this might be a good thing we could actually discuss here. I think I'll just start. I mean, so the 4 games that I picked, which I actually agonized on a couple of these, but some of them were pretty obvious. And because I know I've yelled at, like, for instance, Stevo in the past when I really wanted him to play Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger was the first RPG I ever played, and it was, I don't want to say it's all been downhill from here, but it really grabbed me. It was a fantastic game, just all over. And we've covered this before, so I'm not going to get too heavy into it. But once I played that game, I got the bug, and I immediately bought like Final Fantasy 3. I played FF2. I tried like all the other Square Enix games and whatnot that were on the Super Nintendo. I sat down and I just started plowing through a bunch of them, and it just kept me going forever. And RPGs are now my favorite, genre. And again, another one of these, I wavered back and forth between these two, Xenogears and Digital Devil Saga. We already covered Xenogears. I ended up picking that one just because it was one of the first games that made me really care about the story, like playing a game for the story. Xenogears had a lot of other great things about it. I liked the combat and things like that, but the story was what kept me going and really making me interested and immersed in the game itself and the world.
The music.
And the music too, yes.
I meant to mention the music when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's some of the best Mitsuda, who what we've also mentioned on here is he had composed Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross.
Yeah.
Oh, he did those as well. Wait, the same guy who did Chrono Trigger did Xenogears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're both.
It's an amazing soundtrack.
All those Square games are like masterpiece soundtracks because of him.
Yeah.
He on Chrono Trigger.
Is the other one too.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger is definitely the greatest soundtrack I've ever heard.
So that was Mitsuda collaborating with the Final Fantasy composer.
Oh yeah,
Chrono Trigger.
I don't know though. You said you played Nier Automata.
Oh, good point.
So I debated Nier Automata just because it's definitely shot up to be one of my favorite games, but I think it's too recent for it to. I could say it's really left a major impact.
Yeah.
So I was kind of looking back on older games that I've played, and this one's going to be kind of weird because nobody. When you rank these games, this one usually ends up on near the bottom. Not because it's bad, because they're all good. It's just like the least good, if you will. Mega Man 4 was probably one that I would put as what made the biggest impact on me. So when I was like 7 years old or something, there was a youth center I would go to after school, and they had an NES there. And a lot of times I was just like, I want to try this Mega Man 4 game they had. They had Mega Man 2 also, but 4 was the one that I think I first beat. And and it was just I don't know, like I know it's a lot of people don't put it up as far as like Mega Man 2 and 3 and things like that, but just
Is
something
it more difficult?
No, it's actually pretty simple, honestly. It's the first game that added
Josh. It's simple for Josh.
It's the first game that added the Mega Buster, the charge shot. And so that you start doing 3 damage with things instead of 1. And I think I don't know, I would just sit there for like however long I was allowed to rent out the game before someone else wanted their turn, and eventually write down the passwords, and then the next day I'd come back and continue on. Eventually I beat it, but it just stuck with me, and after that I really wanted to play all these other Mega Man games, and it really got me into playing a lot more platformers than just Mario, because it was fun figuring out the boss's weakness. It was fun just playing these games that thinking back, they're pretty difficult games in general, but I managed to I kind of figured out how you play them, and they're just a lot of fun, and they stuck with me for the longest time. And then finally, this one's probably not a big surprise, is Half-Life. I never really played a lot of first-person shooters before that. I've played the original Doom and like Hexen and Heretic, and they're fine. I just never really got into them or felt the drive to, okay, this is a game I want to continue playing. But finally one day I saw Half-Life on the shelf, and I've heard a little bit about it at that point, but this was before like, the internet was the place where you go find out stuff before you pick it up. I was just like, this looks like it could be fun. And I finally had a computer that could play the damn thing. Booted it up, and it was just amazing. You had a first person shooter that actually had, it was like the flimsiest of plots. It's just there's aliens attacking, go through this facility and stop it. That's basically the plot. There's some things here or there with the G-Man and things like that, but whatever. It wasn't really fleshed out until Half-Life 2. But like just the way you had this one cohesive world, it just kept pushing you through rather than level after level.
And things going on in the world, like you would happen to see stuff happening to other characters in the environment, and it made the whole world so much more real than anything you'd ever played before. Yeah,
and I ever since playing that's gotten me more into playing first person games, like if not necessarily the level based first person games, although I have done those, but like Borderlands. I mean, it's an RPG, but it's first person. You're running around with guns. It's got a narrative and things like that. Those I like to think. I look back on Half-Life and just the variety of weapons and just being able to play this one, like I mentioned, cohesive narrative the whole way through, rather than saying, "Okay, I beat that level. Okay, I beat that level." It was just such a good game, and I was so happy when Half-Life 2 came out. But yeah, I probably could list like 10 other games that have really made an impact, but I think those 4 would probably be the biggest: Chrono Trigger, Mega Man 4, Xenogears, and Half-Life.
Nice.
Those are great ones. Damn.
Well, Elliot, you want to beat me on those? What you got?
I guess I'll go, yeah. I didn't know if Stevo was going to go, but you actually made me second guess my list.
I'm still second guessing my list. Look at this list of things that I'm putting strikes through. And I still can't narrow it down past 5.
Okay, well, that's good that Elliot's going then.
I think for sure I've got 3, and there's one that I'm iffy on. But man, like after hearing you guys talk about Castlevania and Metroid, like Symphony of the Night was huge, and I went on a huge Castlevania streak where all I played was Castlevania games, and I used to hate first person shooters until I played one first person game, which I didn't even think about until you mentioned Half-Life, and so. Right, I'll
just be fair. I really wanted to put Super Metroid on my list.
Yeah,
I really did.
Yep.
I would have if I didn't only just play it like 3 years ago for the first time. Gotcha. But like I played Symphony of the Night way back, and that was like anyway. I'm getting.
Come on, Elliot. What are you going with?
Final Fantasy VII has to be the most influential piece of media in my entire life, and it's the most cliche, repeated answer that everyone's gonna say, and it's only the cool people avoid saying it, and they'll say something like Phantasy Star.
FF6 is better.
But FF7 got me into not just gaming, but it kind of changed the course of my life in a ton of ways. I think I've mentioned or alluded to it on the cast before, but I got into it thanks to my cousin Carlos, who was a co-host on the podcast a few episodes ago. And he, we were kids growing up together, and he loved these RPGs, and he was telling me about this FF7 that was coming out soon, and that was the first I heard about it. And it was graphically like you see these screenshots of full CG movies, and it like you've never seen anything like it before. You're like, how could this be something I can control? How can this be a video game? And it completely took over it was my entire life obsession at that point until it came out. Like I remember videotaping the commercials when I see them on TV and just play them over and over and over again.
Big fan of Goddard Damarung, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes. It was life changing, and it came out, and then someone sent me a link. It came out and I loved it, obviously, and it was the best game ever. I played it like 3 times back to back to back. And then I saw one of my friends sent me a link to the trailer for FF8, which was already being developed like a few months later. And that link was to a video that was hosted at rpgamer.com.
Oh, right.
Which is how I started going there and eventually working there and like learning how to code websites, learning how to write news articles. Eventually, like there's a guy there who we knew who had lived in Japan for a while. So I got that idea to do that maybe. I mean, these are kind of like thin, but it's absolutely true. These like chain of events took me to these places in my life. Like I went to Japan, lived there for a year and a half, met my wife, moved back. Like I don't know where I would be if my cousin had never introduced me to FF7. My life would be totally different.
That's definitely a lot more than me getting a PlayStation because of FS7, and my dad made me do a cost benefit analysis on the cost of an N64 and the games versus the PlayStation 1. So
I remember that. And of course after FF7 I fell in love with JRPGs, so that was my gateway, and I'm still a huge Final Fantasy and JRPG fan to this day. So that's the cornerstone of my like gaming universe, as cliche as it is. Next one, Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, nice.
Amazing game that the series it's still like between that and Final Fantasy, like I'm always gonna buy any game with that title in it because it's just groundbreaking. The storytelling, the fucking Kojima.
How's Metal Gear Solid Survive treating you?
Okay, well, I guess fair enough. I will not necessarily buy everyone, but I mean, I bought like Document of Metal Gear Solid 2. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was just a documentary, and I bought the Ghost.
I was about to ask
game.
if you bought Ghost Babel.
Yeah. I did it all. Shit, what else was I going to say about that? Oh, I got into it on a fluke as well. I had a GameStop, a game shop, like a local game shop whenever I was growing up, and they would modify consoles to play like Japanese games.
Yeah.
And I took mine in, and I would go there a lot. They knew me by name. And so I got my PlayStation modded, and they just threw in a demo disc with like a Japanese demo disc with my PlayStation when they sent it back. It was like they left it in the disc drive or something. And in there was a demo for Metal Gear Solid, like the Japanese game.
Wow.
And that was the first time I ever played it. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then like came out in English, and me and my best friend at the time, Chris, who actually also got a YouTube channel, and he's been posting on our channel as well. He does like gaming videos.
Oh, awesome.
X Phalos, friend of the show. We made this thing, like we didn't have a lot of money, and Xenogears and Metal Gear Solid were coming out on the same day. And I don't remember how we decided. But we decided one of us would get one and the other one would get the other one, and then we'd trade.
Yeah.
And I ended up with Metal Gear, and he ended up with Xenogears, and that's why I never owned Xenogears until like it came out digitally on PSN. Anyway, another trip down memory lane. Metal Gear Solid, obviously, huge influence. Link to the Past was my first favorite game ever.
Right?
So that's definitely got to be on there.
Yeah.
It was the first game where I was like, games aren't just jumping and getting coins. There's saving, there's maps, there's strategy, you got to write down where you got this, and you got to write down where you found
it's
that,
a
you
world.
come back to it. It's a world. It's a living, breathing world, and you have to think your way through it. And since then, like that's what took gaming to like another level for me. Amazing. So that leaves the last one, which I was debating about for the longest time. I originally have a Super Mario Brothers on there just because I am always going to buy Nintendo games and consoles. I have them all except for Shoal Boy. But hearing Josh talk about first-person shooters and the fact that I hated them so much until I played this game, and now they're one of my favorite genres, I might swap that out with Red Faction.
Oh, man. I remember
that.
I remember that. I beat that game. That was an interesting one. I played that one a lot later than when it came out, though.
I played it right when it came out. I don't know what possessed me to buy it in the first place.
Because you can blow shit up like walls with rockets.
Yeah, so the physics was nuts at that time. Yeah. And even now it's nuts. Like, it came out on PS4, like, BC.
Yeah.
And I think I played a little bit of it on something. I can't remember what now. I wonder, was it on Xbox 360 backward compatibility? Could it have been free on Xbox Live or something?
I thought it was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, was it free on PS Plus at some point? No. I can't think why I would have had it. I don't think I would have bought it.
Are you thinking the original Red Faction? Because that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Red Faction 1, yeah.
Okay.
The PS2 game.
Yeah, because I think I played it. It's really blocky, and the grenades and stuff that you can blow up walls with.
Yeah.
I only played like the first couple of minutes. It is very aged at this point.
Yeah.
It's very aged, but that technology to just blow your way through tunnels and like, there's no way to get into this. You blow a hole in it and then you can get in.
Yeah.
It's nuts that like you still don't really see that done well these days.
Right.
Everything's much more scripted. Even open world games, like you're not going to blow something up unless you're meant to.
Right.
So that was, I don't know what possessed me to do it again, but I bought it. I played it all the way through. I finished it. And then I was like, I got to get Red Faction 2. And it wasn't as good of a game, but my brother and I were obsessed with the multiplayer, and we played that religiously. And then on and on and on. Half-Life 2 I got after that. And man, that went on a lot longer than I wanted it to. But yeah, I'm going to say FF7, Metal Gear Solid, Red Faction, and Link to the Past.
Nice. All right, Stevo. Well, you didn't play games for like 30 years, so what do you have?
Damn it. Guys.
I think I can guess one of them. I think I can guess one of yours.
I think I can too.
You know what's funny? Okay, I think you can all guess one of them. Okay, so guess the one of them.
Breath of the Wild.
No.
I was going to say Monkey Island.
No, actually, both good guesses, but no, they don't make it. Okay, so the first one is actually the first chronologically, is Doom 2.
Ah, okay.
So my brother went off to college. We were living in Ireland, and he went off to college in Wales. And then after a few years, he went over to the US, to Iowa, to study a master's in mathematics. And because he was leaving all his stuff behind, he left his Pentium 60, which he had like saved up for while in college, and he had bought in Wales. He left it with us in Ireland while he was over in the US studying. So all of a sudden we had a Pentium 60, and we had Doom 2, and we had Descent on it.
Oh, right, Descent.
And Doom 2 was just so good. Like, we didn't even have a sound card or anything on this. It was just like a PC speaker or whatever. But Doom 2 was just so fun. The shotguns in that game, just the level design, it was like more open, and there was more going on in it than Doom 1, which I actually only played after playing Doom 2. And it took me so long to finally beat, but I was so satisfied when I finally did, you know? And it definitely, you know, that thing of fast action, good shooting, a world, you know. I played Half-Life 2 after that, or sorry, Half-Life after that, which again, as Josh described, it's another beast. It is absolutely, it feels like a real world. It feels like some, you know, all this stuff is really happening around you. Whereas Doom 2 is like, you know, mutants and demons, and it's completely ridiculous. But it was so much fun, and it totally got me into PC gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So did you ever play, just out of curiosity, Doom 2 RPG?
No, I don't think so.
It's actually on mobile phones if you ever want to play it.
Oh yeah,
but I think it's also on. I believe it's also on PC too. Or actually, no, it looks like it's only mobile. Huh.
I'm sure I could pick up Doom 2 somewhere.
I sure it's not RPFG.
No, it's just RPG. It's like an RPG first person shooter thing. It's weird.
Now guys is the hard part. There's like 4 distinct genres that I basically have to pick 3 from. You know, which of these 3 genres do I still care about the most?
I'm sure one of them is Rocket League.
So one of them is
Football Manager.
Football Manager. Okay, what's going to not make the cut? You're going to find this crazy, but RPGs aren't making the cut.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
So,
That's fine.
the next most important game, the next game that defined me, NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
Yeah.
Was
that's a great one.
The first game that myself and my brother got after we got a sound card. So we got a sound card. All of a sudden we had sound in the machine.
It was on PC?
It was on PC. And also we could plug in a controller to the sound card. So all of a sudden one of us could play on the keyboard and one of us could play on a controller. And so local co-op was born. And all of a sudden we could play co-op games, and like basically couch co-op is one of my favorite ways of playing games. Just still to this day, some of the most fun that we ever have is like you guys coming around or my friends here coming around playing a few games on the sofa. It is just the way to do it. And obviously FIFA, all the FIFA soccers came after this. Everything that we play these days, from, you know, Towerfall to Brawlhalla, and obviously Rocket League,
yeah,
you know, like all of it stems, basically I can trace it back to NBA Jam Tournament Edition, which was an excellent fun game in its own right. It also had the power-ups, and that just meant that every game played a little differently.
He's on fire!
So the ones that didn't make the cut here, by the way, RPGs. I was going to say Deus Ex, the original one. Which led to Mass Effect and the Mass Effect series and all the other amazing. But they didn't make the cut. So, the next one that you can probably guess, and I'm surprised you didn't guess this, is The Last of Us.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And the one that I have scribbled out next to The Last of Us is Thomas Was Alone. And,
right.
And the reason that I put these 2 games together is because, and The Last of Us has to be it, because like they're mature games created by auteurs, like they're an artistic vision, and they're grown up, and I could show them to anyone and be proud that this is a hobby of mine. They're like The Last of Us is one of the big reasons that I'm doing a podcast now, and that like I'm happy to chat about, you know, my love of gaming with everyone. You know, there's no more shame about it. I don't feel like it's a childish thing. I feel like this is art in itself, and The Last of Us, that story, the cinematics, the heart, just the utter heart. It's everything.
Funny enough, The Last of Us is also a reason Elliot is on this podcast.
He's gonna be on it until he finishes that game.
Yeah. That's my point. That's my Sisyphus stone.
Okay, so the last one, and I think you might be a bit surprised by this, and I was kind of a bit surprised that I found myself putting it down, but noticing what I'm really enjoying and what games I like to play these days.
Hatsune Miku.
No. Like, I find myself playing these games more than the RPGs and the Western RPGs that I used to love so much, you know? Mass Effect was everything for me. The original Deus Ex just blew my mind. It made me want stories, and it made me want like to play as characters and to, you know, see what they see and learn what they learn, and to be intrigued and but that's not what I'm playing these days. And I think about what I'm playing these days, and I think, what was the start of it? Why am I playing these games? And Super Meat Boy.
Yes, that's a good one.
Super Meat Boy absolutely changed my mind about what I thought I needed in games. I thought I always needed a story. I thought I always needed plot. And then, god damn it, I played Super Meat Boy, and it felt so good, and beating every level and getting every bandage and getting an A+ because doing it within the time all felt so good. It was just like, oh shit, games can just be fun. You know?
Yeah.
Why am I just trying to find fun games and just play fun games? And of course, from this has come, like, I've beaten Super Mario World. I got a hell of a lot into Super Mario Brothers 3. I got a lot of moons in Super Mario Odyssey. I have played Super Metroid and Symphony of the Night and Cuphead even, you know? The fact that I would even dare try to beat Cuphead with my limited skills, you know? Just all of it comes from Super Meat Boy. Just changed the game for me completely. Right. It was definitely an important
milestone. Definitely see that. Yeah. It gives you that that persistence to keep trying. Yeah.
Yep. It's like even if you fail, you kind of just jump back in and go again.
And you're enjoying it because every jump feels great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's me. That's my 4.
So, those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Oh, man.
Great lists. We covered quite a gamut of classic gaming here. All right. So we're going to get into the one sentence news here, where once again, if you're joining us for the first time doing this, I'll read off a news headline with some additional info, and we'll each give you a very hot take, one sentence long each.
So edgy.
Using lots of semicolons and commas if we need to. First up is a very believable rumor that Fortnite is headed to the Switch.
Oh, good. I can hate playing the end game of Fortnite on the go now.
Another winner for Nintendo, another winner for Epic.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
It's just a rumor for now, but it's not going to be soon. This is always going to happen.
It's once it came out to mobile phones, of course, I was going to Switch.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Next one, Shadow of the Tomb Raider has been announced with a bit of they had like a preview video with it, and doesn't look super great, but
it's meant to be they're saying a darker Tomb Raider.
I mean, they're all darker, right?
Yeah.
So it continues that, and it's like more of that same kind of thing.
You sound very cynical about this, Elliot, considering I thought you played both of those games and loved them.
I love the first one, but the second one I'm kind of like, like I'm like maybe 2/3 of the way through, but I can't bring myself to pick it up. I don't know. As I said about the first one, like I have no interest in the optional tombs. I had no interest in going out and doing extra things. Like I feel like the RPG elements of like leveling up your weapons just kind of get in the way. And it's just like in the stories, like
Ellie's been very liberal with the old one sentence here, lads.
No, I'm explaining the headline and why it wasn't well, because like the review came out and initial impressions from like media outlets was not positive.
Yep.
And this is why. And I'm just saying, like, my experience with the previous games, it just seems like it's dark for the sake of being dark. And the last time I played it, I was also playing Uncharted Lost Legacy, and I think I talked to one of you, maybe Josh, about it, or maybe I put it on the podcast, but the characters, the story, like, it's so much simpler in Lost Legacy because it's just an expansion, but you care about, there's so much more human. You care about them so much more. And then you switch to Tomb Raider and it just seems like a really bad, shitty action movie. And like, there's nothing.
Oh yeah, but you were saying it's because she's by herself and she's just basically talking to herself.
Yeah, you need some banter.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
And that's not the only problem with it, but it's just part of my like, what am I like? I don't care about the resolution of the story as much as I did.
Yeah.
I didn't really care too much about the story in Tomb Raider 2013, but it was fun enough on its own. So if this one's fun,
I thought it was fun.
I'll probably give it a shot. I'll probably give it a shot at some point.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of the same. This is the junk food of action adventure games. It's like I'm not going to pay full price for it, but I'd probably pick it up and make my way through it and have a decent enough fun time with it. Yeah,
I think this formula is getting long in the tooth for me, and it's
just like your sentence.
I guess I'll end it there. All right, next up, Nintendo Labo is finally out for everyone who's been waiting for it. However, it only sold 30% of expectations in Japan.
I think it sold 30% of its inventory, not necessarily expectations. It's kind of a weird. It's kind of a weird headline.
Okay,
but yeah, I don't have anything against the Labo. I'm just not really sure who it's for. It's like marketed to kids, but it's also got like this programming aspect to it, and yeah,
it's for families. It's for kids and adults to build things together.
I think it's a neat concept. I just don't think it has a lot of staying power. We'll see, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we might see some interesting things come out of it. I can't imagine that Nintendo are gonna lose a lot of money on it. I still think
selling cardboard.
Say cardboard's expensive.
Yeah, I think it was still worth their experimentation. I'm still glad they did it, and hopefully we see some cool things out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's over. I think they laid a lot of thick groundwork for stuff that can be built on forever, pretty much. It's a laboratory. Sorry, but it's what it is, and it's a place to keep building. And I think that, and this is just the Japanese market. I feel like it would track really well in the States. I don't know how well it's done here, but maybe it just didn't do so well in Japan, period.
Yep.
Xenosaga port or remake rumors are out after Bandai Namco trademarked also Sprach Zarathustra, which was the subtitle for Xenosaga Episode 3.
Yeah, if this is true, it's gonna if it's a remake or like a remaster that also addresses like some of the loading issues of the second game. And if it's for Switch, or honestly, if it's for like PlayStation 4, I'll be all over it. And it's going to be, hopefully it's 2019.
Well, what's Xenosaga?
It's a spiritual prequel to the Xenogears game.
Okay, and what did it come out on?
PS2. 3 games. It's a trilogy.
Oh, okay.
So the full history really quick. When Xenogears came out, the original plot was that was going to be the 5th game in a 6-game series.
Oh.
And then that kind of like Square Enix didn't do anything with it. And then Namco Bandai.
Monolith Soft.
I guess it was just Namco at the time. Monolith Soft, who does Xenoblade and stuff. They picked up the rights, but because Square Enix still had a lot of the IP rights for a lot of the words they used, they had to change some of the things around. But the original idea was that they were going to basically make episode 1 of this 6-episode arc, and then 2 and 3 and 4. But then they did Xenosaga 1, and then when episode 2 came around, instead of making it the next, these are all supposed to be like tens of thousands of years apart too. They made it a direct sequel to 1, and then 3 is a direct sequel to 2.
So like the trilogy could kind of be, it's not exactly what was planned out for the original episode 1, but it could probably be condensed into being the episode 1 of this series. But again, they're, different developers, and not everything is exactly the same. And there's mostly a lot of callbacks to Xenogears. So
yeah,
they're related, but not necessarily canon together, if you will.
Yeah. They kept changing directions. They kept changing like developers and story writers throughout the development, and it kind of went to shit. And they're like, 3 is going to be the last one, and they ended it there.
Yep.
I agree, Josh. I would be very excited for this. This is Xenogears Episode 1 is a game that I've started over 100 times and I've made it to the very end at least twice, but haven't finished it yet. So this would be a really good way to get me to finish.
I mean, I loved 3 so much that I plowed through it as quickly as possible so I could write the review for RP Gamer.
I remember that. You and whoever else was doing it, you guys were loving it. God of War just came out, and it is as good as everyone said it was going to be.
God damn, no new games 2018.
Yeah.
I mostly just want to play it just so I can stop being wary of spoilers.
Yeah.
Yep. I have $70 in PSN credit, and it's really hard not to spend it all on this. But I'm holding out for a sale. Sony added 8 million new PS Plus accounts in the last 12 months. And this is since they have also mentioned that we're going to be getting a lot less for our PS Plus memberships going forward. Only 2 PS4 games after next year.
But that's interesting, but hopefully they give good games. Hopefully the standard keeps up. The ones coming up this month sound good. It's Beyond Two Souls, and what's the other one?
Rayman Legends.
Rayman Legends, yeah. Good pair.
So yeah. I'm surprised they're bringing in this many. It's like still
I'm trying to think of what happened
awesome.
That's like made those numbers increase like that. I guess maybe they've just been selling well, but I can't seem to pinpoint any specific thing.
Fortnite.
You don't need PS. I don't think you need PS Plus to play Fortnite.
I don't think you need PS Plus to play free-to-play games.
Yeah. Oh, you don't?
Online.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
At least that was the case.
Yeah. I wonder then, is it people who just bought it for Fortnite and then they're like, oh, I'll get free games if I...
Maybe. I don't know.
If I sign up for this.
Could be.
Possibly.
Breath of the Wild finally beat Twilight Princess to become the best-selling Zelda game ever.
Considering I don't know how anybody beat Twilight Princess after playing the tutorial, I am not shocked.
Well deserved. Twilight Princess is a great game. Breath of the Wild is one of the best games ever made. Yep. It had to get there eventually.
Totally understand how, and not that many people had Wii U, but everyone who has a Switch must have this game.
Yeah. The attach rate's insane, isn't it? It's like 70 or 80% of people Switch have Breath of the Wild at some point. It was like sometime last year.
I believe
it's a system seller. So
yeah, definitely. And the last and probably biggest, but in a way not as surprising piece of news that we have is that the current acting president of Nintendo, Kimishima, is stepping down.
It's like 68, right? Something like that.
Yeah, he's in his late 60s. And when he took the position, it was after the previous president, Satoru Iwata, passed away. And they just needed someone to kind of take the helm. And they said at the start that he was only going to be there for about a year. And before they groomed a new CEO, who is going to be Shuntaro Furukawa, who is a marketing expert with close ties to Pokemon, fluent in English. He played a key role in creating the Nintendo Switch, and he's 46 years old, so he could be there for a very long time.
So Pokemon Switch confirmed.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, as always, I just can't wait to see what Nintendo come up with next. It'll be intriguing to see what kind of direction he takes them in.
Yeah, I hope he's like, it sounds like he's an exciting guy, and I hope he does the Nintendo Directs like Iwata used to do.
Yeah.
Just for reference, Iwata was 42 when he became president.
Yeah.
So they like picking young guys
to
kind of keep it going for a while.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the one sentence news, and we got one last thing to do before we wrap this up. Got the backlog roulette.
New games.
So 2 episodes ago, we landed on Cuphead, which was my choice. The other two that were remaining, Elliot chose Rhyme, and Stevo chose Oxenfree.
Guys, I'm gonna toss the desk here. I'm just gonna flip the table and just these 3 games: Transistor, Rhyme. Oxenfree.
I haven't even announced what I was picking, but all right, whatever. Transistor.
sorry, stepping on toes. but come on, after playing Cuphead, after me like wanting to tear my own hair out, we need something more challenging than this. I'm changing mine to Bloodborne. That's it.
Need something more doable than that. That's what I was thinking.
I thought you wanted us to pick relatively short games, which is why I picked Transistor.
I do, but I feel like we need something. We need like some kind of X factor in the list here. We need something, some kind of wild card. Is Bloodborne too much? Is there anything else?
Elliot hasn't beaten Dark Souls or Demon Souls. Which was the one you were playing?
I was playing Demon Souls. I forgot I was playing that. I should get back to it.
And you don't think, Elliot, this is the push that you need?
I mean, yeah, I'll play it if we roll it. I'll at least start it and try it out and see how it goes.
Okay. I'll leave Oxenfree because it's going to get picked this time, and then next time we'll do Bloodborne.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we pick one, and the next time we pick a new one.
Yeah.
You know? Every time. And Josh, you don't have to do Transistor. We haven't rolled yet. If this discussion has changed your mind.
I mean, it's not a really challenging game. I was kind of hoping maybe we could play like Borderlands 2 together or something, but I don't
Is it long? How long do you think it would take us? Actually, that would be great fun to stream, wouldn't it?
It's a fairly long game. I mean, I don't think it'd be something that we'd finish in 4 weeks, especially if we're playing it together. But I mean,
that's the thing.
You could play if you want to play like a single player character and then also have a multiplayer one that we do together. That way. I mean, I'd be okay with that. But again, I mean, if you guys are up to it, I'll put it on here. But
yeah, put it on there. At the very least, Elliot, we can make it our business to play some as a group. And then we can consider that, having played it.
Okay.
All right. So I'll pick Borderlands 2 then for you guys, just because.
Even you've played it 100 times.
I know I have, yes. But I would play it again. I like it. All right. So if we roll a 1, we get Borderlands 2. If we roll a 2, we get Rhyme. And if we roll a 3, we get Oxenfree. So,
okay.
Here we go.
What do you think it's going to land on, guys?
I think we're going to get Oxenfree.
Stevo?
Yep.
I think it's going to be me again. Let's see. Roll.
Oh, it is. Okay.
All right. So I guess we're doing Borderlands 2 then.
Borderlands 2.
I gotta check this. How long to beat?
It's fairly long. It will take, like I said, it's one where I'm not expecting us to finish it before the next roulette, but at least to get started and maybe make it like a regular thing.
Yeah, good call.
It's an RPG. Yeah, it'll take some time, but it'll be fun, especially if we can get all 3 of us on there every time. We got to start scheduling these guys and streaming it.
But all right, we got Borderlands 2 coming up. Elliot, take us home.
Right. I think that is quite enough from us today. Thank you for listening if you're still here. And we'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll hopefully have this game finished. 2 weeks after that is the plan. But as Josh just said, we'll probably keep it going. But in the meantime, you can check us out at ratherbecast.com. We're on Twitter. Our podcast Twitter is at RBPcast, and we have our own Twitters that we're pretty active in, at RBPJosh, at RBPElliot, at RBPStevo. We're on YouTube. We are on SoundCloud. We are anywhere you find your podcasts. Feel free to jump on there, give us a like, a subscribe, leave a comment. We stream games on twitch.tv/ratherbyplaying, and then we put the VODs on our YouTube channel there. And am I forgetting anything? Is that about it?
I think that's it. Good job.
All right. Yeah, that went quick.
Look out for me finishing Cuphead on a stream, hopefully.
Oh,
fingers crossed.
If you have any questions at ratherbecast.com. Sorry. We'll try to read them on the cast. But yeah, Steve was going to finish up Cuphead, and
we'll definitely stream some Borderlands 2 over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Elliot's going to try and finish Cuphead too.
I do want to play it. I was looking for that excuse to play it ever since I got it, and then I had the excuse and I haven't played it.
All right. See everybody in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
See you guys. Thanks a lot.
Good luck now.